Dear followers, friends and comrades around the world, I would like to take this opportunity to respond to Bosmic Otim regarding the accusation he, Bosmic Otim, made against our principal, Robert Chakulani Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine, Dr. Kiza Besige, and other political leaders back in our country, Uganda. First and foremost, I would like to state that Bosmic Otim was being fed by Robert Chakulani Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine, when he, Bosmic Otim, was in exile in Kenya, Nairobi. Yes, Bobi Wine directed his party leaders to allocate funds every month to support Bosmic Otim in exile. Yes, it is very true. It was Principal Bobi Wine who was feeding Bosmic Otim while Bosmic Otim was in exile in Kenya, Nairobi. Bosmic Otim was receiving $200 every month as directed by Principal Bobi Wine. And that money was sent straight to the account of Bosmic Otim through our party leaders, National Unity Platform. And not only that, our comrades around the world in the diaspora, they were also frequently sending money for upkeep and other supports straight to Bosmic Otim bank account. I really felt so flabbergasted yesterday when I heard Bosmic Otim came straight on social media platforms and talking trash against our principal, Robert Chakulani Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine. There's a proverb that says, "Don't bite the hands that feed you." So it is really so bad for Bosmic Otim to start biting the hands that was feeding him. Therefore, I also would like to take this opportunity and tell the whole world that President Museveni and his NRM regime has always been compromising Ugandan citizens to talk trash. He has always been paying Ugandan citizens to be stupid fools, to speak nonsense, to speak trash against the people who are fighting for the plight of our citizens in Uganda. Yes, dictator Museveni has always been using all tools of oppression to fight the good fight that people are fighting against him, to fight down the oppositions and the brave Ugandans who are fighting him left and right. All what he does is always to silence the voice of the voiceless. It's always to silence the people who are speaking truths to power. President Museveni has always been using state resources, state finances to fight down oppositions, to fight down the activists and the people who are speaking truths to power. Therefore, I would like to urge Ugandans and our diaspora comrades never to lose hope and never to be diverted by the Museveni's tactics. We should always learn new tactics to fight down dictator Museveni. We should always use different approach to fight dictator Museveni. There is a saying in Luo that says, a male dog cannot run for 10 years. How old is dictator Museveni? How old is he? as himself. He is over 80s. That means he is weak in everything. He is extremely weak in everything. Therefore, let's generate more power. Let's generate more energy and more capacity to fight down the dictator. There is no more things that we should be afraid of. There is nothing that we should fear from dictator Museveni. That is why I always say Principal Bobi Wine came at the right time. Yes, Robert Chakodani Sentamo aka Bobi Wine came at the right time. This is the time that nobody in Uganda want to hear about dictator Museveni. Everyone is tired of him. That is why he has resorted into using force. That is why dictator Museveni and his crooks has resorted into practicing extrajudicial killing in our country, Uganda. My appeal to the youths and the new generation in Uganda is that don't be bought to be fools. Don't be bought to be stupid. Yes, dictator Museveni and his military regime has resorted into compromising youths to be stupid fools. Yes, they have resorted into buying you to be stupid. Just look at what they did to Bosmic Otim. In 2020, Museveni and his military regime went and bought Bosmic Otim. But immediately after the 2021 general election, they dumped him, they tortured him, they threatened to kill him until Bosmic Otim flee to exile. Therefore, dictator Museveni and his military regime, they only need you during election period. They only value you during the election period. That means they are users. They only want to use you. You are nothing to them. They don't value you, but they always want to use us. They always want to use the youths and the citizens of Uganda. But after the election, they turn violence against us. They start hunting for us. They turn more dangerous than the lions against us. We must be realistic. We must be informed. We must be aware of them because they are users. They are like the hungry lions. Imagine dictator Museveni has been in power for 40 years now, but he cannot get satisfied. He cannot let it go. He keeps on demanding for power and killing innocent Ugandans. Now, in conclusion, I want to assure Boss Miko team that there is no any opposition politician that can help the people of northern Uganda in fighting the Kormajong. There is no any opposition politicians in Uganda that can help the people of northern Uganda in fighting the Kormajong cattle raiders. This is simply because President Museveni is the fountain of honor. Museveni is the fountain of honor, and he is the only person who has the rights to deploy the army. Museveni is the only person who can deploy the UPDF in northern Uganda or in the borders between the Acholi people and the Kormojong cattle riders. It is the president to be blamed for the killing of the people in northern Uganda by the Kormojong. It is the duty of the president to deploy the army, the UPDF, and enough police officers in the border of northern Uganda and the people of Kormujong. It is the president to deploy the army between the border of Acholi and the Kormujong, but not the opposition politicians. Therefore, my Ugandans, brothers and sisters, I want to assure you that Bosmic Otim has been given an assignment by Secretary General Richard Odwong and top NRM officers to fight the oppositions in northern Uganda, to fight the oppositions in Uganda by making some fake blames, by making some criticism and blames on oppositions, by making some criticism and blames on opposition politicians. Now, Bosmic Otim, however much you have been given an assignment by Secretary General of NRM, Richard Odwong, and other NRM officials, just don't forget that it was Robert Chakulanyi Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine, who has been feeding you while you were in Nairobi, Kenya. It was Bobi Wine who was feeding you, but not the president, not dictator Museveni, not those of Odwong and other NRM cadres who are now directing you to come and fight oppositions, including Bobi Wine, to come and fight oppositions, including Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine, who was feeding you in Nairobi, who has been feeding you when you were in Nairobi, Kenya. Now, I want to take this opportunity and warn Bosmic Otim that anytime he's coming to fight opposition politicians in Uganda, he should never mention the name of Bobi Wine. He should never mention the name of Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, aka Bobi Wine. This is simply because Bobi Wine was the one feeding Bosmic Otim all this time. Bosmic Otim was in Nairobi, Kenya. All this time Bosmic Otim was in exile in Kenya. I said all this for God and my country. Call me Dr. Daniel Soka, the voice of the voiceless.